Hey, hello, hello. Good morning. I haven't actually done a live video in, I think, like 3 weeks. I think it's been about 3 weeks, and I just today is very personal. Today's a personal day. I'm just going to tell you what's been going on. So, um, you you drop in and wonder what's David doing today. It's a personal video. I'm going to share with you a new direction. Um, Kind of things have opened up, and what wants to happen has come really clearly in the last couple of weeks, and I've been sitting back with it and just being in it and feeling it and trying to get a grip on on the size of it and what's going on. So here it is. Here it is. So today, actually, September or December the 1st, 2021, is I came into recovery 41 years ago today. So 41 years ago, I was 25, and I was scared shitless. I was just terrified. And what had happened is that I knew I was an alcoholic and an addict, or that I was certainly displaying the behavior. I was, as Russell Brand likes to say, I was really screwed, and but I didn't know what to do, or I had no clue on how to live, and but I was motivated. What had happened is I woke up one morning. I woke up one morning married, honestly, and somehow we had a 6-month-old daughter, and I really had this epiphany moment. I woke up and I was like, "Holy shit, I'm in big trouble." I had no skills. I hadn't. I didn't plan to be here that long. I was thinking that I would be on the planet maybe. I remember thinking I'd never make it past 18 or 21 or 25, and here I was, 25, and and a dad, and with no skills, absolutely no. And the terror of that, as I remember, was like, holy, I am screwed here. And so that little girl, though, was my motivator. Now, I don't suggest this, that anybody have a child hoping to motivate some guy into recovery, because that's not necessarily going to work, but it was a motivator for me. It was like, oh my gosh, I've got to get this figured out quickly, because the ship had already sailed, and I was on it, and there we were, and I remember that I thought maybe the best thing I could do in the very early days was to stop using and drinking, and I did. So December 1st was my first recovery day, and December 1st, 41 years ago. And so, but it was all about that little girl. It really was. And I told her whole life as she was growing up that she saved her dad's life. I used to tell her that all the time. She's a little girl, and I tell her the story, and that how she played such a big part in my recovery. I didn't think enough of myself. I wasn't. I didn't think. I couldn't see my own value or a reasoning for cleanup in my own relationships with people, but I could sure see it in this job of being a dad. And so that's kind of spun out. That's always been with me, and I think that many decisions that I made in recovery and personal development and consciousness work since then have been around wanting to be a better dad. Emily had a little brother come along a few years later, and so all of a sudden I had two, and as if I knew what I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing, and still, but somehow, by the grace of God, by um, you know, somehow those two, and I found myself in a second marriage and with a second son a few years later. We all managed to stay together in a way, to create a big family, and we all managed to make it work. But one of the things that was, really important to me, was like the guiding light, if you will, was this thing that I wanted to be, um, a good dad. So what's come up in this last little while is, you know, I've been asking the question really this last year and a half or 2 years as we've been on a forced retreat. What do I want to do next? What's next? What's the plan? In prayer I've asked, guide me, show me what you'd have me to be and do, and how can I serve, and what I see around me. And some of this is also because over the years I've worked with in sponsoring and supporting tons of men in recovery who were dads, and many of them were the same as me, very frightened, very uncertain. Lots of them, like me too, faking it, thinking, pretending we knew what we were doing. But lots of stories of anguish and pain in the job of being a dad in recovery. I would say that I've known dozens and dozens of men who fell short in their own eyes, for sure, of being the father that they wanted to be. And it's been my journey. My kids are now all adults, and it's amazing. I have relationships with them all. We talk often. I do my very best not to give advice, right? And just to listen and be there and love them and do things with them and go places and get to hang out, and grandkids now. All of that's a friggin' miracle. How could that have happened? And I see so many men. I talked to a man yesterday. He said he had 5 children, and he hasn't seen any of them in like 20 or 25 years. And I think he said 13 grandchildren. He's never met any of them. And what a sin, in a way. It's like, oh my gosh, and I can just feel the pain in that, and for all of them, because having relationships with our families and our children I think it's an important piece. And one of the things that in your very, very early days, and I mean, I've said it, like in the very first weeks of my recovery, that I wanted to break the chain, of addiction and mental illness in my family, and with my actions and the actions of my children, and I see that that's happened, and it is happening. And so what I'm going to do going forward is to create a. It's funny how things come together. I have this thing I often say: "Where's God not?" Right? And whatever your definition of God is, universal intelligence, love, where is God not? And this a few weeks ago, this program showed up, this template for creating an online program, and I followed the thread. It was my intuition. I just trusted my intuition. I followed the thread, and the thread led me to this lady who created this amazing template for creating online programs. And I thought, well, okay, I'm going to do this. And it was so clear that it was going to be directed towards men in recovery who want to be great dads. So that's what we're doing. And I anteed up and said, okay, which is unique for me because, most of my life I read the instructions after I'd kind of screwed it all up. Right? So this time I actually went and paid for the instructions and to do this. And her name is the lady's name is Sunny. I forget her last name, but in the moment I just have trouble saying her last name. And they created the course, so I'm excited about it. I'm excited, and so I've been talking this last couple of weeks, quietly going along and talking to men in recovery and asking them, what do they think about this? Men who have almost 100%, I've been talking to men who have kids. I'm saying, what do you think about that? What about this idea of creating a program to support men in being all the dad that they wanted to be? It all just kind of anyway. The response has been fabulous. Men have said yes. Yes, if it's long discussions, but what I want to do over this next little while is actually interview up to about 50 men just to see, you I don't want to assume that I know that this is a good idea, or I don't want to, I want to actually talk to 50 men in recovery at different levels, and whatever you call recovery is fine with me. And at different levels to see, what's their experience. How do they feel about being a dad? How do they feel that they're doing? How much time are they spending, all the time they would like to with their children? And I want to support men in finding their way to be great dads. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? I'd like to hear your comments on that. And so that's I'm just stoked about it. It's I see it as such an opportunity to, just to even have men focus on, become more aware, more conscious of who they are in that relationship. It just really excites me, and I don't know if it excites me, but I can feel that it feels like very purposeful, and like the last 40 years, I've done a lot of years of men's work outside of the 12-step world, and so I think it's given me some tools to be able to do this. So I feel blessed to be able to do that. And so that's the deal. What I'm asking today is that, who do you know? Text me, share with me. Who do you know that is a man in recovery that would, that I could sit down with? I'd like to literally talk to 50, and it would be private conversations, and find out where, I have a list of questions that we're gonna cover. I think one of the things that I think, and that's come out of it, is that no matter where a man is, in his, I wrote this the other day. I wrote, a man can always at any time shift and change context in the journey of being a dad. Regardless of how many broken promises or missed opportunities, we can start again. And I want to support many men in that, and lots of men, isn't the situation isn't that dire, but they just want to be, have a relationship. Maybe they're have teenagers in the house, and they're just passing in the hallway. There's no communication. It's been lost, and so I want to help men to become more there in love, and so yeah, help me, would you, with that? And the other thing is a bit of a side note. My buddy Peter's here, and he's helping me. We're creating I have a whole bunch of stuff left over from the old Bally and Beyond days, and we're gonna put our links in and stuff for our website, and I'd like to get it out there into the community. So there's meditation stools, and there's just a whole bunch of stuff: banners, Serenity Prayer banners, incense, altars, a bunch of stuff. So I just sharing that with you. If you have if you're going to do some Christmas shopping this year, text me and we can get together. And I've got a lot of possibilities here still for that. So that's it. I think I've covered a bunch of it, and it's been a busy couple of weeks for me, and having not been, active doing videos for quite a while. It's fun to be back in front of the camera and talking to you. I'd love to hear what you think, and receive your support in this project. Let's do this together. Who do you know that's a man in recovery that has children, and do you think that this is a good idea to just support, not to make anybody wrong, or just how can we all be more conscious, and in that, help our children to be, more available as parents when they get there. You know, one of the questions that I want to ask all men is, how's the relationship with your dad? And because often that's projected into the next generation. Okay, love you lots. I don't know if this made any sense. I didn't write it or script it. I just blasted it off. And love you guys. Thanks. Cheers.